The country could start using a single common currency, the ECHO, that is from 2020. That's according to the Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta. Now, some West African countries are expected to introduce the currency after they have all met the criteria for using it. Now, however, this has been met with some difficulties. And speaking to Joy Business at a program in Accra, the Finance Minister said Ghana would lead the way.
I mean, certainly, we've all heard it, but I just see a new commitment, especially because of the solidarity between President Nana Akufo-Addo and President Ouattara. And it's always a bridge, between the Francophone and the Anglophone. So I think with that, that's a baseline. I'm a lot more optimistic about it than I've been, because this is the first time you have seen presidents on both sides of the aisle that seem to have the same commitment.
How committed is Ghana to it? Especially one bit that one will talk about is the convergence criteria, and that is where the challenge has always been. How committed is Ghana to in achieving these convergence criteria to make sure that we tap into the implementation of this ECO?
Well, I mean, I don't know whether that's an academic question, or because you've seen what we've done this year, and if there's any sign of commitment, that must be it, to be able to bring your deficit from 9.3 to 5.9, reduce inflation, your coverage. So we are committed. It's obvious that we are not going to compromise on the macro issues for stability. But a single currency for 2020 vision is that let's find 2, 3, or 4 countries that are ready. And then once they meet up, then we follow through the others cascading in. It is clear, I mean, the 350 million market is important to us for industrialization drive, and the population is something that is well. But I think if Ghana positions itself well, we will be a great beneficiary of that. So there's every reason to do that.
We're going to be among the 3 or 2 countries that will start with the ECO.
We have to be. We've always been leaders. I don't know how you doubt it. And we'll work hard to make it happen because it's good for us.
Interest rates are still high despite significant drop in most of the factors that influence the cost of credit. That's information we are gathering from the latest Bank of Ghana data on real interest charged on loans in the country. The following report highlights some of the issues captured in the data.
The data show that real interest rates charged by banks in the country went down by just under 1% to 25.6% from December 2017 to January 31, 2018. This is based on data secured from 31 banks that the Bank of Ghana reviewed when it comes to the actual interest rates that they charge customers. On the average, bank customers were paying about 27% as interest on loans. For some, the rate might be still high despite the significant drop in almost all the factors that influence cost of credit from last year, like Treasury bill rates, which is currently hovering around 13%, inflation, which is around 11%, and Bank of Ghana's policy rate, which has gone down more than 5%. But the commercial banks, on the other hand, have argued that they need more time to respond to these developments, with some saying that rates should be trending down possibly from next month. When you look at deposits, there has not been any increase in terms of interest offered on them, as the report suggests that rates were still around 10.4% interest, just like what was offered in December last year. According to the Bank of Ghana, the publication of these rates should help promote transparency in pricing and provision of banking services and possibly drive down interest rates in the country.
Now, HFC Bank has signed an MOU with Regimano Gray Estates to provide housing solutions to prospective homeowners. Understanding the agreement, HFC will provide mortgages for the acquisition of developed houses and services plots by Regimano Estate to help address the mounting housing deficit. There is more in this report.
According to the managing director of HFC Bank, Anthony Jordan, the mounting housing deficit situation in the country requires that private institutions play a role in bridging the gap. Speaking at the signing of the MOU, Anthony Jordan explained that the new service plot mortgage plan will be a game changer for low-income earners.
HFC Bank has introduced what I call the land mortgage, quote unquote. The land mortgage product where individuals or organizations can access financing to purchase serviced plots.
They don't do it. So you being the developer will have to have the land. The land sometimes you pay 3 times the various homeowners. You have to, the landowners, you have to put in roads, you have to put in drains, you have to bring electricity, you have to bring water. You see, so it makes it costly because the whole building is in the infrastructure. So if we have the authorities taking over the infrastructure works, or even if the developer does that and the authority will have to refund the money later. Because look at electricity, for instance. When you finish, who collects the bills? ECG. Water, when you do all this, who collects the bills? So tell me, what's their contribution to that developer who has put in all those? There's nothing. So that makes it a bit difficult. So if you don't have that, there's no way you can move the pace of the needs of the people. There's no way you can catch up. Unless the government can come out to take over some of these problems that we are talking about, land, putting in all these services and all that, then the developers will move ahead. And then also assist the developers to acquire lands with less problems.
The signing of the Memorandum of Understanding between HFC and Regimanol Gray will see HFC Bank financing buyers of service plots by the real estate developer.
The country secured almost $4 billion in revenue since it started producing crude oil in commercial quantities from 2011. Now, this was contained in the Petroleum Holding Fund report released by government. George Rafe has more.
The amount secured were earnings from more than 36 million barrels of crude exported, as well as revenue in terms of taxes and royalties paid by companies operating on the country's oil fields. The amount showed that out of this, $1.6 billion went to projects outlined in the budget to be funded from the oil cash. $1.3 billion went to support activities of the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation. The Ghana Heritage Fund, which is meant for future generations, took $323 million, while the Stabilization Fund, which is supposed to be used to cushion Ghanaians when crude prices are high on the international market, got $776 million. Meanwhile, in terms of savings, the country has been able to put aside over $1 billion at the Reserve Bank of New York in the U.S. Out of this amount, $776 million was held in the Stabilization Fund. However, Joy Business Check showed that $430 million had been withdrawn from this account as of December 2017, leaving a balance of $353 million and in February 2018, while the Heritage Fund has $344 million. However, a careful look at the accounts raises issues about the interest secured on them over the years.
Well, the National Insurance Commission has pledged its commitment to enforcing insurance companies pay motor claims within a 14-day deadline as stipulated under the NIC's claims guideline for the insurance industry. The Commission established the guideline in 2015, which sought to regulate timelines within which claims must be settled. Unfortunately, many insurance companies are not adhering to the directives. According to the Commissioner of Insurance, Justice Yaofori, any insurance company which fails to comply will face a necessary sanction.
The National Insurance Commission has pledged its commitment to enforcing insurance companies to pay motor claims within a 14-day deadline as stipulated under the NIC's claims guideline for the insurance industry. The Commission established the guideline in 2015, which sought to regulate timelines within which claims must be settled. Unfortunately, many insurance companies are not adhering to the directives. According to the Commissioner of Insurance, Justice Yaofori, any insurance company which fails to comply will face the necessary sanction.
The program aims at actually creating insurance awareness and then making sure that there's consumer protection. So the education is going to be based on insurance awareness and then consumer protection. Now, the Commission has claims guidelines which is going to enforce this year. We're also working on a package for settling especially third-party motor claims. So we are coming out with a formula. We are working on it. We hope that maybe by the end of this quarter it should be out to assist the claims adjusters when it comes to claim settlement. I think it's good for the public to know how much money insurance companies are paying in claims so that they know that insurance is something they can actually have confidence in.
Meanwhile, the Commission has commenced a sensitization tour which seeks to educate the public, especially the informal sector workers, on the need to protect themselves against risks. Here's Chairman of the Insurance Awareness Coordinators Group, IACG, Wilson Tay.
The sensitization we are doing is, we did some work, some research work was done some 4 or 5 years ago to determine the reasons why insurance is not being consumed by the public generally. We found out that, one, first and foremost, you must understand that this country is mainly an informal sector country. The economy is major informal sector, and most of our people are out there doing their own small businesses generally, and so therefore they do not get captured under the mainstream insurance, so to speak. So there's been some work done on micro insurance so that we can reach all those people who put together a major force behind the economy so that they can get access to insurance. Insurance principally is a tool, all right, to protect our financial, interests. That's principally what it is.
The sensitization project, which commences today, will last till the 24th of this month and runs concurrently on 21 community radio stations across the country. Bismarck Awusa's report for Joy Business.
Well, let's throw more light on this development and other related industry issues. I'm joined in the studio by insurance analyst Edgar Redu. Thanks for joining us tonight on Business Live. Let's begin with plans by the NIC to enforce claims guidelines. Long overdue?
Well, it's very unfortunate. At times, I have some serious problems with the way the Commission goes about some of these things. But guidelines, as they're talking about, I'm not too sure what sort of guidelines they're talking about. But if they are talking about the days that one is supposed to pay a claim, then they got it all wrong. You see, it is just an abuse of power. There is a law. There is an LI. And the LI has stated clearly that a claim should not take more than 90 days to be settled.
Okay.
And when you settle a claim, you have within 30 days to pay the claim. Someone sits in his office and then takes pen and paper and starts writing and says, I have decided that pay within 14 days. It's simply out of place. You understand? So some of these unnecessary abuse of power, you must stop it. Besides, you know how the insurance industry works. You know that most of these kind of businesses, the pool that you operate, right? You have a lot of reinsurances involved in these policies that have been taken. And some of these reinsurances, you may have them outside the country. Now, there's a claim. You need to get them to understand the claim. You need to see how monies are wired back into the system and all that. Some of these things take some time because somebody is probably participating in the risk is in Egypt. Somebody is participating in the risk is somewhere in Asia. Somebody is somewhere down South Africa and all these things. People have different ways of monetary controls, policies and all that. So you don't just make some kind of statement either. But as I said, that in my view, right, it is just an abuse of power because there is a law. The LI has stated clearly that you have 30 days to pay the moment you settle the claim. So you cannot come and say it should be within 14 days.
So essentially the insurance companies are being put in a tight corner.
It is not a question of being put in a tight corner. You run by laws, right? You run by regulations. I believe the commissioner is there because of a certain law.
Well,
okay, so you need to respect the law.
Hopefully they are aware, but we've not got any reactions from the insurance companies to this.
Well, you've not got a reaction from the insurance companies. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
You called me. You called me to speak on the matter. So it's about the same thing. So I'm speaking on the matter.
Okay, for insurance companies.
Not
I called you in as an analyst.
Yes, you called me as an individual. Yeah. So I'm here and I'm telling you exactly what the position is.
For insurance companies.
Yes, what the law is. You see, it tells you that you have issued claims guidelines. And your claims guidelines, you have stated that people must pay their claims within 14 days. And we say no. The law says when you settle the claim, it must be 30 days. And when the claim is reported till the time of settlement, it should not go beyond 90 days. And I mean, in that LI, it stated clearly how you need to go about some of these things. So how do you sit in your office? It's just like someone says the president has a duty to do, and he says, I won't listen to the constitution, I do what I want.
Okay, well, we may want to further probe and find out what's in the thinking of the NIC and what the other insurance companies have to say about this. But again, today, the NIC has started a sensitization tool, hopefully to throw more light about the need to insure, get more Ghanaians hooked onto insurance. What do you make of this move? Now, I ask you this because, I mean, for a long time, that has been the emphasis: educate, sensitize people about the importance of insurance. And I'm thinking, well, it doesn't look like we're making an impact because we've not seen a significant rise in figures.
Yes, of course, it's so, because they are not getting it right. You see, you need to introduce dynamism inside the system. You cannot tell me that the people out there do not know that insurance exists. They do know. But when you are dealing with a certain segment of the society, or a society in question, that disposable income is a problem, right? You need to design mechanisms. You see, you need to be dynamic in your approach towards this issue so that the ordinary man in the street will find it comfortable, as it were, being part of the system. You know, there again, I'll go back to the same, rules. When the law has stated that, you see, flexibility, make it possible for people to pay their premiums, then you come and then you take a paper and pen and you say, from today, everybody should pay. If you don't pay, we won't give you insurance. These are some of the things.
And when you talk about dynamism, what do you expect? How innovative can insurance companies be in trying to boost the numbers, really?
You know, one of the things, you deal with what? The average. That is the law of numbers. Okay? So if you are doing the law of numbers and you begin to split it in a very insignificant way, you get a lot of people to join the pool. If I should tell you that every month pay me, what, 10 cedis, or pay me 1 cedi every month, right? At the end of the year, you would have paid 12 cedis. So multiply by the number of Ghanaians. How would you feel paying a cedi every month? You'll not even realize it. Multiply the number of Ghanaians and see whether the figure you get at the end of the day will not be more than what is being contributed into the pool. I mean, that's what I'm saying. You see, you need to be dynamic in your approach to how to handle some of this, so that the ordinary man in the street can patronize your business.
I've got plenty I want to ask you, but for the sake of time, we'll have to leave it here. Hopefully, we'll continue after the program. Thanks very much indeed. That was insurance analyst Edgar Redu there. Thanks very much indeed. Now, President Akufo-Addo will launch a 10-year cashew development plan tomorrow at Wenchi in the Bono region. Now, a board for the cashew industries is also expected to be announced. Joining us via phone from Wenchi is the Deputy CEO of the Ghana Export Promotion Authority, Eric Chum. Tell us what to expect tomorrow.
Well, thank you very much. Essentially, the President is going to unveil the National Cashew Development Plan, and that would, as part of it, as a key component of the plan, would involve a cashew development board, which is one of the key election promises, and also was part of the NPP manifesto prior to the 2015 elections. So after the launch of the plan, all of these key various components will be unveiled, and then clear timelines and milestones will be set for that to come into fruition. After that, post the launch, there's also plans underway to have like a national stakeholder conference in the sector to bring on board the various collaborators to make sure that we're all singing from the same hymn sheet, and then look at how we can collaborate across the various sectors to be able to make sure that this comes to fruition.
You're doing this at Wenchi. That's a very strategic place. Of course, that's where we've got quite a number of cashew farmers. And interacting with them, they're very expectant about this 10-year development plan. In terms of support, what kind of support would they be getting?
Well, what has happened is that I think that various attempts have been made to revamp the sector. However, what has happened is that it has lacked coordination, and there hasn't been, if you like, that needed collaboration between the various agencies who are responsible for making that come to with its logical conclusion. So what is happening here is that the farmers on the ground, who are an integral part of the value chain, are happy that government is now bringing to bear some focus and a strategic direction for the sector. So even as part of the deliberate interventions from government, just last year, government actually contributed some money into the mass spraying exercise, which was actually extremely successful. It covered almost about 10,000 acres of cashew farms, especially in the Bonga-Hapo region. While Wenchi is strategic in terms of the sheer production of cashew in the country, I would interest you to know that actually cashew production can actually be done across almost 4.5 of the regions that we have in this country. And what is going to happen is that the mere presence of the president, also the commitment that the president has shown in revamping the sector, will stimulate growth across the sector. We're talking about research, we're talking about the primary production of seedlings, we're talking about retooling the existing cashew processing plants. We've spoken about the setting up of a board, the trading and marketing of cashew as well. So even if you move away from the farmers and you come to the local players in the sector, you realize that because of the lack of cash, they've been carted out of the market. The market has actually been taken up by foreign interest. So these are some of the things that will make sure that things, whilst we're not necessarily preventing anybody from trading in Ghana, we are also looking after our own. Then there's also the whole thing about the potential that comes with the whole value chain. They're talking about taking advantage of even the cashew fruit itself. We're interested to know that about 200,000 of metric tons of this cashew fruit actually goes waste on the farm. Don't do anything with them. And with the plan, it would institute measures to make sure that we're taking advantage of all of this.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chum, for your time. We'll certainly be following all of that and bringing you, our audience, the update. Let's turn to Bertha to begin quickly for an update on the stock market. I was looking for you last week because I wanted us to talk about the State of the Nation address. You know, the president mentioned the Ghana Stock Exchange and how it was blossoming.
Just a quick one on that. That has actually had a positive effect or impact on our stock market. Though it's not significant, we are not seeing it so much, but it is so clear that investors have confidence, so much confidence now in the stock market as compared to, let's say, previous years and even earlier this year. And when the market is still bullish, we're still seeing equities add up to investors' capital. So that was a very strong comment, and we're expecting more people to get on board.
And hopefully that is translating in today's figures. What do you have?
Definitely. We had BOPP and Enterprise Group Limited go up by 3 pesos each, Gold advanced by 6 pesos, Societe Generale 4 pesos, Unilever 2 pesos, and MLC 1 peso. The major indices closed 29.44% and 35.10% for the composite and financial stock index respectively. So we also had some equities losing. EcoBank, GCB, FML, Standard Chartered Bank, PBC and Total lost on their previous share prices.
And so how do we expect this to play out in the course of the weekend? While you're at that, let's cover the city as well and how it's performing.
Okay, so this week we're expecting the market to continue to be bullish, but we're expecting some equities like FML and GCB to shed off some gains that they've made within this period on the stock market. That's expected to happen. And if you move on to the cedi, last week the dollar was actually stable. The cedi was stable against the dollar, and that was as a result of the inflows, the dollar inflows that we got with regards to the 5-year bond that was issued last week, Monday. So we had some foreign currencies coming in, inflows. There's some dollar inflows coming in. So we saw the stability on the interbank market, but it wasn't same for the other currencies, that's the euro and then the pound. And going forward, we're expecting it to be relatively stable against the dollar because we're expecting more inflows with from the cocoa syndicated loan. We're also expecting we're expecting the oil production to also go up, so we're expecting more funds to come in as well. And if you also look at our gross international reserve, which is very, very strong, about 7.55 billion US dollars. That's about 4.3 months cover. That should be able to take care of the dollar against the cedi against the dollar within this period. So in case of any uncertainty, the government can come in to actually hold the cedi and make sure that it remains stable against the dollar in particular. But we are not seeing same for the other currencies because
especially
we are
the
not,
British pound.
Yes, we are not seeing same because we're not getting that inflow as we get in for the dollar. We cannot say same for these currencies as we have for the dollar. But going forward, we're expecting it to be stable against the dollar on the interbank market.
All right. Thanks very much, Bertha Sibiga, for our update. And that's it for Business Live tonight. My name is Daryl Carl. Thanks for watching.